Hey, hello and welcome to the Yoga Teacher Collaborative live show, either right here in the Facebook group or on the podcast. I'm really delighted to be sharing another installment with you today, exploring how to avoid burnout when growing or establishing your yoga teaching and your yoga business. But before we dive into those top tips today, which is going to include some mindset, but also some really practical things that you can implement right away. My name is Laura Green. I am a yoga teacher. I've been teaching yoga for over 14 years. I have been practicing yoga for over 22 years. I am based in Southampton, Hampshire. I am also a yoga teacher trainer, a mentor, business mentor for yoga teachers, and an author. So today we are exploring avoiding burnout. And that is something that we have to take responsibility for as yoga teachers. We have to take responsibility for our own physical health, our own mental health, our own emotional health, and our own spiritual journey, so that we are living the best life we can, supporting our students in a way that is in harmony with the teachings and the practice of yoga, and really making sure that how we're showing up in the world is for our greater good, for the greater good of our students, and for the greater good of all. And a lot of that comes down to how we're managing our own self. So what is burnout? As we know, that's quite a go-to phrase nowadays. And I really want you to start to identify the difference between burnout and also the precursor to burnout, which I like to call beige out, which is when everything starts to lose a little color, lose a little shine, lose a little magic. We lose some of our inspiration, our motivation. And this is often the kind of telltale sign that we're overdoing it a little bit. And that's the time at which to implement some changes before we get to burnout. Burnout isn't just a trendy phrase. It is a real process in the body. It is adrenal fatigue. So the adrenals is part of our stress response, part of the sympathetic nervous system. And when we have spent too long in the stress response or a heightened state of awareness, our body is living in overdrive. And this, in the long term, takes its toll. And that seems to adrenal fatigue, burnout, exhaustion, fatigue, and not being able to show up for ourselves, our loved ones, our students in the best way. Adrenal fatigue, as I said, is sympathetic nervous system. We know from last week's free training, last week's podcast, I'm sharing a little bit with you about the nervous system, about the science of the nervous system, and how we want our home base to be the parasympathetic, the place of rest, ease, social engagement. So one of the first things we can do as a yoga teacher to avoid burnout is to actually educate ourselves on the nervous system and on the tools of yoga that we can implement into our own practice and into our teaching to regulate our own nervous system. Now, as many of you know, I'm about to start my 8-hour nervous system CPD. It starts today, the 12th of April. It's a 2-part 8-hour CPD on regulating the nervous system. You can still join for today, or you can join anytime and get it on replay. So let me know that as well, because burnout is connected to the nervous system. For instance, this week, I have a lot on my teaching plate this week. I got my standard weekly timetable of classes. Yesterday, I started a new online course. Today, I'm doing the first 4 hours of the CPD course. And Sunday, I am delivering a retreat, also on nervous system regulation. So then what did I do was actually in my normal classes this week, interwove a lot of nervous system regulating practices. We were doing breath work, shaking, tapping, self-massage. So all of my yoga classes were nervous system regulation. Now, not only is that good for my students, but when I have a busy week, it's making sure that I am constantly regulating my nervous system so I'm showing up the best for myself, my students, and my community. And that would be my first top tip to avoiding burnout as a yoga teacher is to teach what you need. Now, that might sound a little bit the wrong way round. Aren't we meant to teach for our students and for their needs? But actually, we're no different to our students. We go through the same challenges, fluctuations. We live in the same world, and we're often going through and experiencing the same things as them. So I notice, for instance, if I'm feeling a little tired, a little under the weather, a little stressed, then invariably, actually, my students have been going through something similar. And then when I teach a class designed for stress regulation, for releasing tension, that's the classes that my students say, oh my God, that's just what I needed. How did you know? And then when I'm feeling all bubbly, all joyful, all creative, and I share a creative, upbeat class with my students, it seems that their energy is in that same place as well. So I haven't found a mismatch in teaching what I need that seems to align with my students. So it might be that the classes, the business you have is well known for a particular style of yoga. Like maybe you're a vinyasa teacher or a yin teacher. You can still have flexibility within that. Personally, my standard timetable of weekly classes, most of them are just yoga. They don't subscribe to a style. My Monday is a style, that's gentle yoga, and my Thursday is a style, that's chair yoga. But the rest of them, I just advertise them as yoga. Yes, I have a leaning to vinyasa, so there's always a feeling of flow in the classes, but being a little bit more open in how I advertise the classes and what I put them on as a timetable gives me more flexibility to adapt the type of class to the energy I have that week. The last thing you want to be doing is feeling really tired and depleted yourself, and then having to go and teach like super powerful vinyasa class because you feel that's what your students subscribed to. So being a little bit more flexible means some weeks I can teach a strong vinyasa, other weeks are more gentle, other weeks are more nervous system regulation. But you know what? Even if I was teaching for a studio and my class was like a set vinyasa, I'd still be naughty every now and again. I'd go into that class and I'd say, look, I know this is a vinyasa class. We all like a flow, active practice, but sometimes we all need to rest. So today I'm going to take your vinyasa class and actually we're going to do gentle yoga. I know that's not what you came for today, but sometimes you have to be given your medicine. So today we're going to do this gentle class. If at the end it didn't feel delicious, come and tell me and I'll give you a free class for next week. I have used that before, and no come up and ask that free class because, you know, often we go to our active dynamic class expecting to work hard, and then the teacher flips it on us and gives us an indulgent, restorative yin somatic practice. And to begin with, we might feel a little grumpy about it, but at the end, we invariably feel good. We know we needed to rest, and we're grateful for that teacher for giving us what we needed and not always what we want. And that's important as a yoga teacher. For me, that's one of the differences between a teacher and an instructor. As a teacher, I'm empowering you with different skills, giving you different knowledge and giving you what you need, not always pandering to what you want. So that's my first top tip for avoiding burnout as a yoga teacher is teach what you need. If you are feeling tired, if your energy is down, if you've got other stuff that's bubbled up in your life, maybe the kids are off on school holiday and they're absorbing all of your energy, teach what you need. Don't worry about conforming to that set style. Show up in alignment with your needs, and 9 out of 10 times that is going to align with your students' needs as well. Now, if you see me looking down, I've got a couple of notes to help me stay on topic. So the next tip, really a mindset one. Just slow down. When it comes to building your yoga business, slow down. I support so many yoga teachers, from teacher training right through to been teaching for 20 years and needing business mentorship. And the common thing that happens with brand new teachers is this feeling that you have to get going with 3, 4, 5 classes, and you have to get established. And somehow that gives you confidence in your skills that you're a proper teacher. Whereas actually, go slowly. Be in this business of teaching yoga for the long run, not for the short term. It is a marathon, not a sprint. You know, I want more yoga teachers that have been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, not teachers that went guns a-blazing in their first year, burn out, and then go back and get another job. So build slowly. My consistent advice is start one class, fill it up, then add another. Once 2 classes are full, add another. And focus on that bread and butter of building up your classes before then adding events, workshops, and retreats. This enables you to teach less, because if you start and suddenly launch 3 classes, you'll probably get 20 students spread out through 3 classes. That's meaning you're having to drive to 3 classes, teach 3 classes, set up, pack up 3 classes, market 3 different classes. Whereas actually, if you just put on 1 class, those 20 students would have had less choice, and more of them would have funneled into 1 class. So you're much more likely to get a full class. It's getting a return on the whole hire, making you a decent hourly rate for the class, only taking up your time on marketing and teaching 1 class. That gives you more time to focus on the other aspects of growing your business, such as getting your website established, getting your social media presence established, getting better at teaching and honing your craft. So build your business slowly. And that means you have to take out of your vocabulary the word only. I can't tell you how many times I hear this. I only teach 1 class, as if somehow or other that makes you a lesser teacher. Let's get rid of that word. It is not helping your confidence. I teach 1 beautiful yoga class a week and I love it. Change the dialogue, and that affects the mental health. So if you're building your business slowly, how else are you supporting your financial needs? And again, when financial burden and filling your yoga classes come together, that can really lead to burnout. So when you're feeling this financial stress of I've got to pay the bills, I've got to pay the mortgage, and you're putting all of that responsibility onto your yoga classes, it's a lot of pressure. So my advice is to have, in the beginning, I've been a just yoga teacher for, I don't know, 12 plus years now, but in the beginning, supplement your income with something else, be that another job, be that other part-time work, be that other small business work you do, like admin for a more established yoga teacher. You know, I've got 3 people in my team, so admin support is a great way to supplement. But supplement your teaching income with something else to avoid the pressure of having to meet all your bills with yoga and the pressure to expand quicker than you're ready to. Then, when you're looking at your finance a couple of years later, you've slowly been building up your classes, 1, then another, then another. Then you've layered in workshops and retreats over about a 2-year period. Then look at your finances and see if that yoga is already making a good enough base income to look after you. Then, of course, consider letting go of the other income streams and putting all of your energy into yoga, and then that will take your business onto the next level in its evolution. But you got to know this journey is going to take 2 years minimum to get established enough to be making a reliable income. I say this from get-go on my teacher training. And I've been doing teacher training for 6 years now, and I've seen many of my trainees do that. Keep their jobs or have another job as they're building their classes for 2 to 3 years, and then they're able to release their other job and become full-time teachers. And I have seen other people that have tried to do that from the beginning. They've tried to go full-time from the beginning, and they always end in burnout. Please, please take it slowly. You'll grow your business skills, your teaching skills, your business, all in a much more natural and organic way. Number 3, be project-based. So this is very similar to what I said about building your business slowly, but be project-based. So even if you are a more established teacher, and say you've got 3 or 4 classes running, you've also got a retreat coming up, you've got a training or a day retreat, try and just focus on one thing at a time. Be project-based. So say all of your classes are kind of doing okay. They're about 60% attendance, maybe one's a little lower. Rather than deciding you're suddenly going to do a big push on all of your classes, pick one class, focus on that, do a marketing push. If you're just about to launch a retreat, let your classes just tickle over for a moment and spend a week focusing on all of the marketing for your retreat. Now, I'm actually going to show you what this looks like. So for those of you on podcast, there is an accompanying video on Spotify, but I'll explain what I'm showing as well. So I'm going to put a screen share on. I'm going to show you a Word document that is a project campaign document that I use. Let me see where this is. Okay. So this is a real working document. I actually have it as a template as well, and it is a project document. It is so simple. But when I'm working on a new project, this is a new 6-month online course I'm working on called Chakras Unearthed, a tantric journey into the roots of the chakras. I'm not working on anything else at the moment. I'm letting my classes just tick over, not focusing on marketing them. I'm not focusing on marketing any retreats at the moment. For this week, I'm just focusing on the behind the scenes of this project. So first of all, you create a web page for it. And then I have a list of all of the different marketing campaigns for it. Now I'll give you the campaign 1 when I launch this new course out to the world, unearthing the tantric approach to the chakras. Then there'll be 2 to 3 educational campaigns where I'm sharing free educational information with an invitation to book. And then there'll be a 4th campaign that'll be a last chance to book this course. It's not till June, so there's plenty of time. I just think through that. And then I sit and make all of my marketing graphics. Again, I have a document here that tells me every graphic I need. So I need a Facebook event cover. I need a Facebook page cover. I need square posts for Instagram. I need a rectangle and 2 square images for Facebook. I need an Instagram stories, a reel, an email graphic, a podcast graphic, and a Facebook advert graphic. And then in one project, I go and make all of those graphics. I'll start with one graphic, say the Facebook posts, and then I can resize in Canva and recreate all my graphics. And when you do that in one go, that's just going to take you 1 hour to 2 hours to sit down and get all of the graphics done. And then saving it all in a document so that if you ever come back to redoing this project, this retreat, this course, you know where everything is. And then under that, I'd write all of my copy. If you don't know copy, copy is just the word that means written text. So I'll write my email copy, my Facebook copy, everything, and have it in one go. Really simple document. Now, what that does is it takes control of something as a project. So you could have that for classes. You're launching a brand new class, or you want to remarket a class. Have a document and see that as a project. What are the marketing campaigns? What are you going to talk about? Why you should try yoga? Benefits of this yoga, style of this yoga, reviews from people that have come to class or classes before. Then create all of the different type of graphics, flyers, posters, Facebook graphics, social media graphics, email graphics, and then write a series of emails and keep that all in a Word document. And your head is in that project. So be project-based. And then once that project is looking after itself, you can then move on and look after another. But when you're not project-based, what happens is your mind is constantly whirring with, oh, I need to market that class a bit, the numbers are down. Oh, I need to plan what I'm going to do for retreats in summer. Oh, I should probably do a campaign to get more testimonials. Oh, I need to do something on my website. And your mind is scattered between all of these different tasks. That leads to mental stress. That affects the nervous system. And altogether, that is that pathway down to burnout. Focus on one project at a time. And as if you're employed in a company, do it properly with a Word document, with a handbook, with everything in one place. So be project-based. And then that flows very nicely into the next point, which is being task-based. Okay? So when you saw that project document, you saw one of the tasks was to create all of the graphics. Another task is to create all of the written text. Now, if you notice, I've done the graphics, but I haven't done the written text because I'll have been doing task-based. My task would have been, I'm in Canva, acting as a graphic designer, doing my graphics. And I did all of them together. Now, another day, I'll be Word-based. I'll be working on Word tasks, and I'll do all of my writing together. This goes for your other tasks, such as what do you have to do? Email, marketing, customer service, social media, lesson planning. Split those into tasks and only work on one type of task at the same time. So for instance, when I was creating all of those Canva graphics for my new course, I wouldn't have had my email open. I wouldn't have also been doing email. I wouldn't have been also quickly paying that invoice when it comes in. I only ever work on a task, and I'm really strict on that. So for instance, I'm only on email on a Monday and a Wednesday. Might dip on a Friday. I am never in my email on a Tuesday or on a Thursday. Same with other aspects of my business. Invoices. I only ever pay invoices, generate invoices, send invoices on one day of the month. And that'll be in the last week of the month. And I'll sit there, I'll pay all my invoices, I'll generate all my invoices. I'm not nipping in and out of all of these tasks, which leads to that monkey mind overwhelm. So be task orientated. And that means you might need to sit down and work out what are all the tasks in your business. So another example is lesson planning. I lesson plan on a Monday. So I lesson plan my gentle yoga, I lesson plan my main classes, and I lesson plan my chair yoga, which isn't till a Thursday, all on a Monday. That's only when I do that. So my brain's not having to shift gear all of the time, and that will really help. Next tip, reuse and repurpose. Again, wherever you are in your business, you can use this tip. Reuse and repurpose. So let's start basic with your lesson plans. Do you keep your yoga lesson plans and do you reuse them? Or every single time you're starting from scratch? Now, I keep all my lesson plans and I do reuse them, but they never come out the same because I'm never the same person. The mood's never the same, the energy's never the same. But it means I'm not always starting from scratch with a blank piece of paper unless there's some fresh inspiration coming through and I can't wait to get that into a new lesson plan. So have that balance between here's a selection of prior lesson plans that I can dip into. And then when there's fresh inspiration, then craft anew, but not putting pressure on yourself to always craft new lesson plans. Same goes for playlists, poems, other creative things you bring into your class. Feel free to reuse them. Repetition is really powerful for your students. And then the other offerings in your business. It's a balance between reusing and creating. So for instance, the nervous system regulation course that I'm running starting today, I taught that class last year. I'm reusing the lesson plans, reusing the workbook, reused all of the marketing. Same for my new course on the meridian lines. That ran last year. It is a reuse, a repurpose of everything. So that is lessening how much energy that I am using because I reuse, repurpose my courses once a year. And then that gives me the creative and the time freedom to every year be adding one new thing to my business. So as you know, for this year, this is going to be that 6-month course, Tantric Journey, Chakras Unearthed. So I have the creative time and space for that because it's the only new thing. Everything else is a reuse and a repurpose. The same goes for your social media. If you're putting something on your social media, can you reuse it as an email? Or if you have been teaching a particular meditation all week in class, can you then film that and put it on your social media? Could you film it and put it on YouTube and then reuse it as a freebie in an email? So rather than always thinking, oh, I've got to do something different for social media, for email, for my classes, how can you reuse and repurpose? Pre-book time off. That's a big one. And I have to be really strict with myself with this because I teach a lot of retreats abroad. So I've got 5 retreats abroad this year. I can end up feeling guilty that that's like my students seeing, oh, she's away in Spain again, and then not booking holiday. But I was away teaching a retreat. You know that's not holiday. So I have to get my diary out and pre-book time off. If you're a full-time yoga teacher, remember you have holiday leave and you're in control of how much of that, but make sure you pre-book time off. Get 2 more. Get things out of your head and onto paper. I use something called SOPs. That is shorthand for standard operating procedures. These are documents that I have written out that are things I rinse and repeat so I can just print the document off and tick off my tasks. So for instance, I am running a day retreat this Sunday. And in my brain, I know all the things I've got to do, like I need to send the final details email. I need to email the venue and confirm the final arrangements. I need to email my caterer. I need to pack up my supplies. I need to get my lesson plan. And afterwards, I need to send the thank you for attending email. Now, I can keep all of that to-do list whizzing around my head. It's not a hard list. I just rattled it off for you then. But it's taking up mental load. Whereas just knowing that I have a tick list for this is everything I need to do when I run a day retreat, I print the tick list off and I tick the tasks off. Not only does that calm my brain, stop it worrying about something I've forgotten, but also it's well known when you tick something off a to-do list, you get a dopamine hit. It's a positive for your nervous system. So think, what are all the things in your business? Is it your weekly to-do list? I need to go on social media, say what my classes are. I need to send an email. I need to lesson plan. I want to do a playlist. I want to, what are all the things you do repeatedly every week that you can put on a tickable document? And then what are the task-specific things every time you launch a new course, every time you run a beginner's workshop, every time you run your restorative yin Friday night treat, every time you run a retreat, put them in single document to-do lists and tick them off. I can't tell you what a simple, quick win that is and how much your brain will thank you for it. And then very, very similar to that, and it all kind of links together, is scheduling and structuring your marketing. So again, I'm going to put a screenshot on, but if you can't see it, don't worry. It's a fairly scary document anyway. I'm actually going to show you my Google Calendar. Okay, so in a Google Calendar, you can have multiple calendars. When you schedule and structure your marketing like this, it will bring you so much more ease in your business. So in Google, you can have multiple calendars and you can tick them on and off. So here is a calendar called Laura Green. It is where I've got to be when I've got to be. That's simply, it's got my yoga classes, I've got to catch a flight. It's just got what I've got to be, where I've got to be. I'm going to turn that off. And then I have another calendar that is just called events. And all it shows is what event is coming up. Just that. It's not about I've got to be there. It's a business thing. Me telling me what events I've got. So for instance, I've got this up for May. So the 3rd of May, I've got a restorative yoga workshop. I know it's sold out. 11th of May, my week retreat to Tarifa is starting. I know it's sold out. 19th of May, I've got a community yoga class for my teacher training. I know that's sold out. If they weren't sold out, they would say spaces. And then I have a marketing calendar. Let's turn that on, which shows me what marketing I'm doing when. Now, I'm a little bit of an oddball, so I use emojis to remind me. Envelope shows me that's an email. I'm sending the email to nurture teachers then. Then cat emojis tell me if it's Facebook or Instagram, but it shows me what I'm doing when, and it is completely plugged into a calendar. And then that helps me spread out my marketing and not have to firefight. So rather than in the back of my head having to think, oh my God, I've got that retreat coming up. Oh, I really should do some marketing. Oh God, I just know it's all scheduled in the diary. The diary will tell me when I need to do what. So I can empty that out my brain and worry about other things like, have I had enough cat cuddles today? Then once you know when you're doing the marketing, actually using things like an email software to schedule. I just showed you before the campaign document for a new project. I was showing you my Chakras Unearthed, and it shows you that there'll be 4 emails: a launch, educational emails, and a last chance to book. I will sit and write all of those emails together, being task-based, and then based on my calendar, schedule them out. So even though it doesn't start till the 13th of June, by the end of next week, when I've completed this work, I'll know that the email on like the 10th of June saying last chance to book Chakras Unearthed is already scheduled. So then it's not taking up any brain space. And this is my biggest tip to avoiding burnout, is automate, schedule, empty the brain space out. Work on one thing at a time. Have a document per project so you know where everything is. That'll help you reuse and repurpose as well. Work on tasks at a time. I'm either doing email, I'm either doing finance tasks, I'm either doing customer service, I'm either doing Canva graphics, I'm either writing marketing documents, I'm either doing lesson planning. So is it either or either? I think I swapped between the two. So making sure you're just working on one task at a time is going to calm the mind. Then use a diary to plan out when you're going to do these tasks in your business, and then use schedulers, email and social media to pre-schedule all of the marketing once you've done it as a task. So those are really going to calm the mind, make it think about less, know that it's got everything under control, everything is tickety-boo. Focus on one thing at a time, build your business slowly. Get another job, supplement your income another way whilst the business builds, so that when you take that leap to being a full-time yoga teacher, you know the financial needs are already catered for. And where we started, learn about nervous system regulation. If you want to avoid burnout, you need to understand what burnout is. It is a real thing when you've spent too much time in your sympathetic nervous system. Through yoga, you can know how to down-regulate from the sympathetic nervous system to the parasympathetic for rest, for healing, to avoid burnout. If you don't know that stuff, come train with me. We've got the Yoga for Nervous System Regulation 8-hour training. There's a teacher training as well. Officially, it is starting today, the 12th of April. We've got 50 wonderful people signed up for it, but you can also do it on replay. It's an 8-hour training. We'd love to share it with you. Then you can do nervous system regulation for you, nervous system regulation for your students. Then you can put in all of these tasks and ways of working in your business that work well with a balanced nervous system. Okay, my lovelies, let me know on Facebook your takeaways from today. If you are listening to this on the podcast, I would absolutely love you to subscribe to this channel. Then you won't miss any more of these free trainings. Leave us a review as well if you can, and feel free to reach out on social media for any help, questions, comments. You'll find me at Laura Green Yoga. So it's Laura Green Yoga on Instagram, on Facebook, and the website as well. Guys, thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to dive over into the Facebook group and connect with you there. Thank you. Bye, my loves.